God, you guys are stoned, seriously. He said, stitching up Jay's arm while he laughed despite the long cut running along it. Jay chuckled, wincing slightly as he tightened the suture. You know, Doc, you're probably the only one who could get away with slapping me and still keep my respect. You shook your head, amused. If you keep squirming like this, I might slap you just to get you to sit still. The others laughed, too, more of Jungkook's man lingering around, watching as you were finishing with Jay. Despite their rough exteriors, they were surprisingly friendly, though they kept their respect. They had all heard Jungkook claim to hate you, but they also know the real truth. They noticed how he shut down anyone who tried to getting too familiar or friendly. Everyone knows you are his girl, and that's why no one tried to mess with you. So Doc, you're here more than any of us, huh? Think you got a pass to the boss's cold dark heart? Minjun piped up, leaning against the wall. You laughed, turning towards your table to get a tissue. Trust me, if he even has a heart, I haven't found it yet. Jay smirked, glancing at the others. Well, we all know you are his soft spot. You raised an eyebrow, rolling up a fresh bandage. You think he has one? You all act like he's some saint just because he let me patch you up. I don't get any special treatment. They all exchange glances with each other as they all know the problems going on between you and their boss. But Doc, didn't you see how he's completely different around you? I mean, come on, we all know there's something between you guys. Ouch! He hissed and looked at you surprised when you lightly pinched him on his forearm. Doc, next would be the injection if you didn't shut your mouth. He pouted while others laughed. Suddenly Max came rushing inside the room. You all looked at him as he was breathing heavily. Relax, bro. Take a breath. Why are you in a hurry? Max looked at him. Do you guys have any idea what's going on? What happened? They all exchanged glances at each other while you seem invested too. You tried to focus on wrapping Jay's bandage, but your hands froze when Max muttered, "Tonight something happened to the boss." You glanced up, furrowing your brows. Before Max could answer, Mark strode in. His gaze settled on you with an intensity that made it clear he wanted you to hear this. He's just not himself tonight. There was concern in his tone. He was in the practice hall when he suddenly announced a match out of nowhere, and now he's losing it. Ryan is going at him hard. Boss isn't even trying to dodge half the hits. You felt your heart skip, but you quickly refocused on Jay's arm, refusing to look at Mark. It's just another sparring match. Just probably wanted to test Rayon. Mark shook his head, his voice was tense. No, Doc, it's not like that this time. You should have seen it. It's like he's letting Rayon beat him. Not even defending himself, just taking it. He paused, glancing at the others. It's like he wants to get hurt. You force yourself to keep working, wrapping Jay's arm as if every word wasn't tearing at your focus. He's tough, it's just some bruises. I'm sure he'll walk it off. The guys exchanged a look and Minjun leaned forward. His eyes were serious. No, Doc, it's not just bruises. He's already taken a few hard hits. Blood everywhere. He's barely holding himself up. You finally looked up as your heart hammered. He let Rayon do this? Yeah, boss was practically inviting it. You clenched your jaw, forcing your focus back to Jay's arm, even though every instinct screamed at you to go Find Jungkook. He's the boss, he knows what he's doing. Jay looked at Mark. They all know there are some problems going on between Jungkook and you. Basically, you are not on talking terms, and it's been a week since you stopped seeing Jungkook, and they know that it's driving their boss crazy even though he doesn't show it openly. Kai, who had been quiet until now, finally spoke up, voice calm but serious. Doc, I know he pretends like it doesn't matter, but if you don't go, I'm not sure he'll stop. He finished addressing and looked at him. I'm here for medical support, not to fix what's going on. I don't care what he does or not. I'm not a part anyways, he said, standing up while they all exchanged glances. But Doc, why are you telling me this? You asked in a tighter voice than you intended. Cutting him off, Jay exchanged another glance with Mark before answering. Because we know why he's doing it. You're the only one he listens to when he's like this. You exhaled sharply, trying to stay composed. You guys overestimate how much he listens to me. No, Doc, we don't. If you don't go now, he's going to keep taking those hits until something breaks, and I don't mean just bones. The air was heavy with their unspoken message. They knew, just like you did, that Jungkook wasn't in that fight for sport. He was in it because he was trying to get a reaction out of you, pushing you to the edge so you would rush to his side. You clench your jaw, trying to ignore the growing pull in your chest. He's an adult. He knows his limits. Does he? Because from where we're standing, he doesn't care about limits right now. He cares about you. Your breath hitched slightly, and despite your best efforts, you felt the worry gripping your stomach. The thought of Jungkook, the ever-cold, controlled mafia leader, losing control like that, taking blow after blow, punishing himself because of you. You force yourself to stay seated, trying to appear unaffected. He'll stop when he's ready. The silence that followed was heavy, thick with disbelief. They didn't press further, but you could feel their eyes on you, waiting. Finally, Jay stood, testing his arm one last time before speaking. I guess we'll see, huh? But don't say we didn't warn you. You know how far he can go. Mark and the others left the room, leaving you alone. You felt your heart dropping. You tried to stop yourself, but you knew he won't stop until you go there. With a deep breath, you stood grabbing your medical kit as if it were an excuse, and headed towards the training hall. You told yourself it was just to check on him, to make sure he wasn't doing anything stupid. But even as you walked, your heart pounded louder than your rational thought. The muffled sounds of grunts, flesh hitting flesh, and heavy breathing reached your ear before you entered the hall. Your stomach twisted as you rounded the corner, and what you saw made your chest tighten painfully. Jungkook was in the middle of the training ring, shirtless, his body drenched in sweat and blood. He was breathing heavily, arms hanging low as he faced off against Rayon. The younger man was going at him with everything he had, and Jungkook wasn't defending himself. He wasn't dodging, wasn't blocking. He was just standing there, taking it all. Your heart raced as you watched a punch hit Jungkook hard in the jaw. His head snapped to the side and blood dripping from his mouth, but he didn't even flinch. He barely reacted at all. You didn't able to see that. Stop it. The voice burst out before you could think. The room went quiet. The other men paused, surprised. Even Rayon, who was throwing punches, stopped, his fist still raised and breathing heavily. Jungkook looked at you, his eyes dark and unreadable, but something changed when he saw you. He wiped the blood from his lip with his hand, breathing heavily as he stared at you. His face was cold, like he hadn't just been hurt. Why are you here? His voice was low and rough. You walked near, gripping your medical kit tightly. Your anger was bubbling up. What are you doing? He didn't answer, just watched you with that same blank look he wore when he was trying to push you away. But you could see it. His body was shaking, not from fear or pain, but from tiredness and something deeper, something darker. Get out of here. This isn't your problem. It is my problem when you are acting like a fool. You are bleeding all over the place. You glared at Rayan, who got nervous seeing you. Get out of here. Are you going to kill him now? Rayan looked at Jungkook, who stepped forward. Leave from here, Ryan. This isn't your concern. You looked at him angrily. What's the point of this, Jungkook? Why are you doing this? He looked away, clenching his jaw. Why do you care? You haven't talked to me for days. You took a breath, trying to control the anger inside you. You think hurting yourself will get my attention? You're acting like a child. We turned around before looking at all the men in the hall. It was packed. Everyone, leave from here. We all exchanged glances. No one can move until it's Jungkook's order. This room always packed with men training. Jungkook just nodded and they all left from there, leaving the two of you alone in silence. Jungkook didn't say a word. His eyes were just on you. Without saying a word, you opened your medical kit and began to treat his wounds. He stood there silently watching you. His eyes were intense, almost vulnerable. The air was thick. You started cleaning the blood from his wounds. You could feel his heavy gaze and it was hard for you to stay silent. He winced slightly when you pressed a little hard on his lips. Even though you were careful, you looked at him. You can't even bear this much pain and letting yourself get beaten? What are you, a child? You were angry. He was just looking at you and it was making your anger turning into irritation. You were doing that on purpose, right? So that I come to you, so that you can make me run to you. And you did, wasn't it worth it? You tried to remain calm. So all this to get my attention, huh? You stop your work for some time. Why are you so complicated, Jungkook? When I come to you, when I ask for your love, you push me away, you run away from me, and now that I was doing exactly what you wanted, you are hurting yourself to make me talk to you, to look at you. This is maddening, Jungkook. First clear your mind. Know what do you want. You pretend to hate me but can't stay away when I push you. I'm here to do my job. If you'll push me, I'll go. Clear your mind if you hate me or love. What if I say I love you? I want you more than anything. I can't stay away even when I tell myself that I can. My heart doesn't listen to me. It wants you, only you. I push you away but every time you go, I feel my world falling apart. His words hung heavy in the air. His confession made your pulse race. You searched his face looking for any sign that he might take it back or that this was some twisted part of his game, but his eyes, raw and filled with vulnerability you rarely saw, told you he meant every word. You swallowed, gripping your medical kit a little tighter to steady yourself. What, Jungkook? You wanted to say something but ran out of words. I know what you are going to say, that I'm reckless, that I'm not someone you should love. And you are right, I don't think I deserve your love or I'm worthy. That's why I try to stay away, to not show my true feelings, because I don't think I'm worthy of your love. You shook your head, surprised at how shaken he looked. You don't get to decide that for me, Jungkook. This excuse is so stupid. If I'm showing my interest in you, it means that I love you. I chose you. I can protect myself. You don't need to think about it. I try so hard to keep you out of this, out of my life. It's like The closer I get to you, the more I realize how dangerous it is for you to be near me. I know what I am, Ryan. I don't want you to have to carry that weight. For the first time, you saw this vulnerable side of him. He was like an open book in front of you. His eyes were swallowed, blue brushes, but he cares about nothing. You held his face gently, brushing your thumb along his bruised cheek. You think I don't already know who you are? I've seen the worst and the best of you, Jungkook, and none of it scares me. I trust you more than anyone. I choose you. His eyes darkened, clouded with a mixture of yearning and guilt. But what if choosing me means you lose everything? What if I can't protect you one day? What if I'm the reason you get hurt? You gave him a steady look, tracing your fingers along with his jawline. Then let me decide if that's a risk I want to take. Stop trying to make that choice for me. If I were afraid, I wouldn't be here right now. I'm not a helpless child, Jungkook. You're trying to protect me by pushing me away, but all that's doing is hurting us both. A muscle in his jaw tightened. His fingers trembled slightly against your waist. He looked down, almost ashamed, but didn't pull away. I hate seeing you hurt because of me. You softened, tilting his face up to meet your gaze. You are not as broken as you think you are, Jungkook. Just because your world is dark doesn't mean you don't deserve love. If anything, maybe that's why you need it more. You brushed a gentle kiss on his brow, feeling him relax just a bit under your touch. For a moment he was silent, as if wrestling with himself. His grip tightened around you. When he spoke again, his voice was husky. You don't know how much I want this, how much I want you. I never thought that someone could love me despite all of this. You were gently caressing his cheek. I'm not afraid, Jungkook, and you need to stop being afraid of letting someone love you. I'm here because I want to be, so stop pushing me away. His gaze softened, searching your eyes as if trying to memorize every part of you. You deserve so much more than I can give you. And maybe all I want is you. You whispered back, leaning in until your faces were mere inches apart, feeling his breath mingle with yours. You have been protecting me from a distance, but don't you realize? I'm safest when I'm with you. A flicker of surprise passed over his face, followed by something deeper, more vulnerable. You are so stubborn, he said with a faint smile tugging at his lips. I learned from the best. He replied with a smirk. You brought your hand to the back of his neck. Your touch was gentle, yet anchoring him to the moment. Don't you see, I'm not here out of obligation or fear. I'm here because I love you, despite every reason you have tried to give me not to. He looked at you for some time and then finally gave in. He closed the distance, capturing your lips in a kiss that was both tender and consuming, a confession of everything he couldn't put into words. His hand came up to your face, fingers tracing your cheeks, as if he couldn't believe this was real. When you broke apart, he cupped your face gently. You could see the love and determination in his eyes, a quiet promise. If you're going to stay, if you're going to choose me, then I promise you I'll protect you. I'll never let anything happen to you. He smiled and nodded. Finally, he realized that he is your safe place and not the danger he used to think and push you away from. I know. I love you, Ryan. I promise I won't push you away anymore. I'm going to stand by your side and love you until my last breath, no matter what danger comes in. He said, hugging you once again. You smiled, closing your eyes and feeling his heartbeat.